Okay, let's begin our animation operation. Okay, we're going to start by doing the following. Let's see. Okay, let's see. There are certain layers that need to be isolated from each other. In other words, where is it? The secondary ring must be unlocked from the primary one. So we're going to select none as a parent. Okay, so that of course now it sits on its own. So that of course, if we try to rotate it in any ways, let's see, if we try to rotate it, it should rotate on its own. Okay, but of course it's a bit slow, so I'm going to undo that. And for now we're going to hide the maps below them, and I believe to do that, let's just create a new solid. Let's make it black. Okay, and move this to be just above the maps of the countries, of the city. Yeah, right there. Okay, hopefully of course by doing this we should be able now to manipulate the rotation of our layers a bit more quickly. Let's confirm that of course by, yeah, you see that. Now of course we can easily rotate our layer there. Let me do that again. Yeah, you see that there. That's much easy to rotate. Okay, now the reason why if we hide this solid here, if we hide it and try to rotate things, you go, oh no, actually I thought it was a bit slow, but fortunately for us it's actually going quickly. I don't know why After Effects was a bit slow in the beginning. Let's reset this value here. Okay. I thought perhaps the reason might have been because the map is a bit too much of a high resolution image, but it seems that problem has gone away. Now we are working now from the very beginning of everything. Okay, in the beginning, here's what needs to happen. Let's go of course to frame 0, or to the very beginning in time, and then we are going to move, let's see. Okay, we're going to move our text layers a bit forward in time, okay, because they don't need to appear right now. And then let's start with the secondary ring. Okay, press the scaling for that, and of course scaling for the primary ring as well. So we're pressing S on the keyboard. Okay, then we're going to create the keyframes for both of these and then move them of course a bit forward in time. We're going to change our time configuration here. Sorry, by going to composition settings. The length is a bit too long, so let's change it to like let's see, 10 seconds or so. Okay, yeah, that's much better, but of course, yeah, it takes away some of our text layers here. So let's just go back to the composition settings, make it 30 seconds for now, and yeah, bring back these layers of ours, and of course set it back again to 10 seconds. Okay, and move them out of the way again. Yeah, back to our rings here, this and that. Let's see. Again, as you can see, we don't have keyframes. Set this time here to 1 minute. Let's see where the keyframes. There they are. Okay, move them of course to the very beginning, and again set the composition back to 10 seconds. Perfect. Okay, yeah, put them like that, and then we're going to still have them selected. We're going to press R on the keyboard and create keyframes for those as well. Okay, and then we're going to press U on the keyboard to reveal of course the keys so far, and of course we need to move these a bit out of the way. This will happen once the animation of course has settled down, so we move them out of the way. In other words, this will be the final dimensions of our rings. And now let's work from the beginning, of course. Okay, now in the beginning, the scaling of these layers will be inverse. In other words, let's start with the scaling of the secondary ring, and it will need to be much bigger than what it is. Okay, in other words, it can even be completely off screen like that. Okay, so the scaling right now it's make it 180%, okay, because it really needs to come out of the screen in the beginning. And then the primary ring, the scaling in the beginning will need to be smaller than what it is, okay, like that, as you can see us doing. Can even set it to 0%. That way, of course, in the beginning it's invisible. And of course, when we play this back, you'll notice, at the point they will meet into each other. You see that, eh? So to start from the beginning from nothing, and then at the point they will meet. Okay. And also we have to play around with the rotation. So let's just move a bit forward in time. Now in the beginning, there have to be some rotation, of course. The primary ring will need to be rotating clockwise. So we rotate it as you can see me doing there. Let's make it 60 degrees. Okay. And then the secondary ring, of course, needs to be rotating anti-clockwise. So we're going to change the rotation here to minus 60. Okay. And of course, let's move these again also to the beginning. And we test. In other words, the beginning should happen like this. The rings will come into each other and yeah, you see what they will be doing. Yeah, they will settle down like that. Now, we need to move the keyframes when they actually settle for the rotation. So select both keyframes for the rotations and yeah, move them like that by offsetting them, of course, out of the way like that. So they will settle yet rotate. Of course, we need to create a preview for this so that we can see, of course, that we're doing the right thing. And yeah, let's do that. Yeah, hit 0 on the numeric keypad. Of course, we begin to create a preview. Okay. Now, when we create a preview, this is what we have. So the rings come. You see that there? Beautifully settle in. Oh yeah, you see that there? That's nice. Okay. So just making them, dynamic in the way they come together. All right. Now, let's see. We need to move these keys a bit closer to each other, like that. And also, I believe we need to adjust the rotation of the outer ring a bit. Of the inner ring a bit. So let's double click on its keyframe there for the rotation in the beginning, and let's set it to minus 120 degrees. Okay. So of course it comes in spinning a bit faster before, of course, it settles down. Okay. Now, as you can see, of course, we have something much more interesting going on. Okay. And also, let's offset the scaling of the outer ring. In other words, we are going to move the primary ring scaling a bit like that. Okay, so that it really only appears when something much more interesting is about to happen. So you see, as we are doing there. Okay, let's see what. And also, in between here, here's what we need to do. Just before it settles down, let's move this key a bit out. Yeah, move this forward. Yeah, at this point, we're going to scale it a bit to balloon it out a bit before, of course, it becomes small again like that. See that? Can you see, of course, a much more interesting effect that we have there? Okay. Perfect. Let's move on because we're having too much fun there. And then while this is happening, when they come and settle here, at this time, this is when we want to play around with our, let's see, is it the lock-on tracker? No. Is it? I believe it's the target point. Yes, it is. Okay. Let's see. Let's edit it a bit. Target points. Let's edit this composition a bit. As you can see, it needs a solid layer, so we go to layer, new, solid, make it a white solid. Okay. And drop it below everything, of course. Press T to bring up its opacity settings, and of course just reduce it a bit to 56% or so. And then let's go back to the main composition. There it is. Or is it the one really? No, it's something else. Let's delete that. trying to see what is that black solid inside. It could be the target. No. It's the square. We've named it actually accordingly. There it is. Yeah, you see that? So let's go to the square. Go to select the solid and then go to layer, solid settings, change its color of course to white. Okay, back to the main composition. There it is, of course. Now of course this guy here, its opacity needs to be reduced like that, because we should still be able to see the target, yet see the little star inside. You see that? Okay, now here's what needs to happen in this animation. Yes, I've just moved my layer a bit, unfortunately. Okay, I've fixed that. Yeah, let's see what needs to happen now. Now we need to play around with the little squares opacity a bit. Okay, and here's how we can do that. Okay, in the beginning, okay, we have to select where things actually come down and settle, and that's around here. Okay, so at this time the opacity of course must be set at the final unit, which is, for our liking, let's make it 50. Okay, yeah, set the opacity to 50. And then in the beginning here, this one we can play around with its settings, because it has to start from 0. Yeah, so we're going to enter there in the beginning 0. And then it begins to blink a bit. It has to begin to blink a bit like that. And then it should go back to 0 again. Even here, there should be a time when it goes again to 0. And then in between there, it goes like that. It blinks, it goes dark, and then it blinks again, maybe even to 100%, even like that. And then it goes dark again. And then finally it appears again. Okay, so of course the only way to test whether we did the right thing is to test. So as you can see, we have keys there. It starts at 0. If you open up the graph view by clicking on that option there, you can see of course what the graphic editor shows us. Our layer starts at 0 and then of course begins to increase in value. So let's preview this. Can you see what we have? Beautiful, eh? Let me just make it a bit bigger and see how things go according to the graph editor. You see how we blink? Beautiful. Okay, that's very great. Okay, 1, 2, great. Okay. And of course, if you're a bit more, if you want even more drama, of course you can add more keyframes in between, but don't worry, you can do that at your own leisure. Thank you. And then next is a chance for let's see, the target points now to be animated as well. So we're going to press Shift T. As you can see, we need to play around with the scaling and the opacity. Okay, and then let's see. Okay, around these regions here, they shouldn't be visible. So these guys here, this and this, that is, let's just see exactly what are they. Okay. Let's see. Just trying to see which objects exactly which. Is that the target points? No. What about the target? The target is the star itself, of course. I'm trying to select the objects that actually needs to be manipulated. Is it the lock on? Yes, it is. Yeah, now we have it. Okay. Now we are going to select the lock on, as well as, let's see, target points and the target itself, and move them forward in the timeline. Okay, so that at this point they don't actually appear yet. Yeah, we've selected the right stuff, thank goodness. So they should only appear around this region here. However, let's see, um, the target points have to be visible a bit earlier in time around this region here. Yeah, okay, around this region here. Yeah, around this region here, they have to be visible already. Okay, and then we're going to select the target itself. Let's actually rename it to target underscore star. No, it's fine. Okay, we don't need to change that. Let's move on. It has to be there. The next thing to be manipulated is the lock on. We're going to click on the stopwatch for the scaling because it needs to be manipulated, of course. Of course, it has to start at 0. So we're going to change the scaling here to 0 for now. Okay. And then when it begins to appear, of course, it has to balloon out of proportions first, like that. Okay. Yeah, up to 8% or so. And then, of course, it's going to settle down gently, like that. Okay. So what happens is that you see that. Let's just play this back. But let's just spread these keys a bit outwards, like that, and then like that. Okay. Playing this back, this is what we get. Aha, beautiful animation, eh? You see that, eh? Beautiful, well composed. Great. Okay. Okay. And then the other thing is, at this point, after everything has settled, yeah, this is now the time when we can bring our text, of course, into the picture. Okay. But then again, the text have to be moved a bit. So we're going to move them a bit on the side. And also, yeah, the scaling is a bit too big, so we have to scale them down a bit. Yeah, as long as people, of course, can read what we are writing about. Okay. But then, of course, these have to be animated in a nice way. Okay. So to do that, we're going to Alt double click to go, of course, to the beginning of each of these. And let's go to composition settings. We change this guy's settings here to, let's say 15 seconds. 15. Okay. And let's see. Also double click here. We go to composition settings, and the length also set it to 15 seconds. Remember, this depends, of course, on the final length of the thing that you want. Now, starting with the first one, we need to play with its animation. Let's start with this one here. We're going to press S for the scaling. To start with, we're going to click on the pen behind tool, and then with the pen behind tool, we need to move the point from which, of course, our object here scales. So we're going to move the pivot point there to the corner there at the bottom. Okay. Deselect that option. Now, if ever we play around with the scaling, you can see, of course, for yourselves what will happen. Okay, that's happened, of course, because we've moved the penning to that side. Okay, let me just do this. Let's try and unlock the scaling controls. And now let's see. You see that now? Now, of course, we can manipulate things properly because now the object will be moving or be scaled from the bottom there. Okay. So we're going to create stopwatch there for the scaling from 0. Let's see. It should just take 1 second. So it starts. We're going to move this keyframe there. Then, of course, let's go to the beginning. And now this is where we're going to move this to 0. So that, of course, it scales from nothing. Okay. Now, let's try to play this back. When we play it back, can you see, of course, how it plays? Okay. Nice. And of course, maybe it takes too long to do that. So we might want to move the keys a bit closer. You see that, eh? That's better. Okay. But of course, it depends on how you want your text to appear. And then, let's see. Select them both. Animation, keyframe assistance, easy ease, just to smooth them out. Great. Okay. And then let's play around also, of course, with our text layer here. Now we're going to apply a very nice and quick animation preset to our text here to animate it nicely. To do that, we go to Animation, Browse Presets. Okay. This will open up what is called Adobe Bridge. Okay. And in here, we're going to see it opens up a presets folder that we can use to apply to effects in After Effects. Okay. And then just go to the text folder and animate in. You're going to see a special effect there, or a preset called fade up characters. Okay, not fed up characters like the characters have been so fed up with this that they're tired. No, not like that. It's fade, like in fading. Okay, so that's a preset we need to apply. So it's under animate in. Okay, so to apply them, we select the text and then we go to animation, apply animation presets. As you can see, we have to come under in the After Effects text animation presets, select animate in, and then we select fade up characters. Double click. That way, of course, it applies them. We are then going to press U on the keyboard to reveal the keyframes, of course, so that we can see for ourselves. Aha, you see how it animates them, eh? Beautifully. See that? The characters type themselves in. If we were to play this back, you see what we get, huh? You see that? Beautiful. Okay. Of course, they're taking too long to apply to appear, so we are going to drag this keyframe here closer like that. That way, of course, this object is animated much quicker. You see that? Great. Okay. As you can see, of course, applies a range selector effect, and we just play around with the fading. Now, after we've done that, of course we need to do the same with our text too here. First things first, of course, we need to select this object here, select the penning tool and move the pen there at the corner there. Select the scaling, unlock the scale. Let's see, we then need to move to which time frame? 1 second. Okay, so move to 1 second somewhere here. Okay, we're going to create a keyframe there for the scaling there, move to the back, and then of course here we're going to enter 0 for the scaling on the x-axis. Yeah, so that of course it animates like that. Animation, keyframe assistance, easy in, easy ease, so that of course it smooths out the characters there. And then of course we are then going to select also in the beginning here, select our text, animation, apply animation presets, fade up characters. Okay, press U on the keyboard to reveal the keyframes, of course. You can see of course how they animate. Of course, play this back just to confirm. You see of course they're taking too long to appear, so first things first, we're going to squash this in and that out like that. And then let's play this back. Okay, great. Maybe of course we might want to move these even closer like that. Great. Okay, let's go to the main composition. It seems we have a problem with our text here. Text 1. Yeah, move the keyframes of course like that. Let's see just a bit. Okay. Yeah, that's much better. Main composition. Yeah. Of course, we have to play this back just to confirm whether we've done the right thing. Yeah, let's play this back. When we play this back, this is what we get. We get the circles coming together. And of course the text appearing. Now we need to fix a few things first. Let me just play this back again before we fix what we need to fix. It's looking good. Yeah, but of course things are too static when that happens. So that means, of course, we have to select. So here's what needs to happen, because there still needs to be life going on in the scene here. So what's going to happen is the following. When things have settled down a bit, we will continue rotating our circles a bit. In other words, starting with the secondary one, remember, that's the way they were rotating, okay? Clockwise, right? Okay? So we will continue that by increasing, of course, the number of rotations gently. Okay? The same with the other one here. Let's see, which way were they going? For the primary rings, they go anti-clockwise. So, of course, we continue with its legacy of going anti-clockwise gently as well. So that, as you can see, of course, when they settle down, there's still a bit of rotation going on, you know? Things don't just stand still. Okay? And also, when things come like that, that is when we want these text layers here to begin to play the animation. So let's select them, of course, and have them to begin to play in the scene, like, see. Okay, now let's preview this. Now when we play this back, you see that there? Now it's, of course, much more lively than before. Great, okay. And also, we need, you know, a beautiful grid on top of everything else. So let's go to Layer, New, Solid. Let's call it Grid. Okay. And of course, let's go to Effects, Generate, Grid. Okay. And of course, they have to be split further apart by increasing the cornerings, of course. See that? Perhaps we've done it a bit too much. Let's just get them a bit closer to each other. Yeah, like that, okay? And the border, well, let's reduce it to something really small. And of course, the opacity, please reduce. Yeah, something minor like that. Okay, now, of course, it's looking much, much more interesting. All right. Yeah, just looking fantastic, I must say. Anyways, let's move on. Now, the next thing is, after we've given our viewers enough time to read what's going on, what will need to happen next is the following. Okay, first things first. Yeah, let's move these keyframes here. Yeah, up to somewhere there. Yeah, now here's what needs to happen. We're going to manipulate now our controllers on this side here. Yeah, okay. So we're going to select arrow pointed right. Yeah, the arrow over there. If I hide it, not the arrow, sorry. We have to select arrow B. Yeah, that one there. See that? That's the one we're going to play around with. We're going to press P for the position, and then click on the stopwatch there to create a keyframe there. And then, of course, we're going to come here more or less in the beginning. Now, this is when we're going to play around with this Y position. So we want it to start below, like that. And then here, we're going to press F9 to make it smooth, so that, of course, it starts like that, and it goes all the way up. You see that, eh? Okay, let's preview this. But before then, we just want to make sure that it happens after the text here has settled a bit. So there shouldn't be much delay, really. Yeah, somewhere here. Okay. When we play this back, you see that text settles, and of course our little bar there goes all the way up. Beautiful, eh? Nice.